Welcome back to the Knights of the Dawn podcast. Thank you all for being here. I'm Jessica.
And I'm Megan.
And today we are going to be doing the first 4 chapters of the 4th Fablehaven book, Secrets of the Dragon Sanctuary. So we're going to be reading Journal through Captive.
Yep.
So that's probably going to be the norm from now on, just like smaller chunks, just because
there's a lot to
there's
cover,
a lot more to cover now.
in these books, yeah. But there's more in each chapter, so we can still like talk about it for a while.
It's going to make it a little bit more difficult.
Yeah. But probably a lot more episodes to come out very soon,
Yes.
So
Fingers
have that to
crossed
look forward
anyways.
to. It's gonna happen. We're gonna freaking make it happen.
Yep. Book 4.
Book 4 is crazy, actually. I'm really excited.
It's going to be a fun time.
Yeah.
We have not yet responded to your emails that you have sent. I promise we see them and we love them. There may be delay in us responding, but we promise we will get to them.
Yeah. And also, thank you for anyone who has sent an email. We love reading them.
Yes.
It's the best, honestly. It makes me feel like, oh, someone actually listened to the thing. Or like when you like leave like comments on the YouTube, I'm like, oh, someone's listening to this.
It's
and
really
actually
nice.
cares.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So keep going. We promise we see it, and it does
Yes.
motivate us. So just, if you want more episodes, email
It's
us.
true. It actually does motivate me a lot. I'm like, oh, yeah, I gotta keep going.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like the end of book 3, we're probably gonna have to split up books 4 and 5 a lot more.
Yeah,
Because
they get
there's just
heavier.
so much that happens.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, let's get on with the episode.
All right.
So we're doing chapters 1 through 6, journal through All Seeing Eye, I think is chapter 6.
Mm-hmm.
So the book opens with Kendra, being a little secretive in her room, her parents think she joined a cult, but
Reading a secret journal with arcane
strange
symbols by
symbols.
candlelight.
Yeah. Imagine that, like, if you're, like, a parent, you, like, walk into your child's bedroom and they have, like, this candle and they're, like, reading this book and you're like,
That's not English.
are you okay? What did you get into this summer at your grandparents' house?
I mean, let's be honest. Like, they were kind of concerned about the fact that the grandparents were not letting them come home.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, wait, but speaking of emails, there was one person, I don't know if they want me to say their name, but you'll know who you are, that they, like, we talked about a couple episodes back, a while back, that, like, we forgot that their parents, like, what their parents' names were. And she was like, I forgot that their parents even existed. And I was like, honestly, same, because their parents are, like, never in the books. And so when it, like, mentions their parents, it's like, oh, yeah, they do live at home with their parents. They're not being raised by Grandma and Grandpa Sorensen.
mm-hmm.
But I was like, that's kind of funny. But again, she's having to, like, do stuff behind her parents' back because they are, like, totally unaware of any of the magical stuff, so.
Yeah. It's gotta be rough. I mean, like, when you just have, like, this huge secret that you have to keep from your parents. Rough.
Yeah, but it's for their protection.
Mm-hmm. And then we get to our first golden Seth moment.
Yeah.
Because, Christmas is coming. Like, this is, like, the end of their first semester of school, and so Christmas is coming, and Seth is very ambitious with his Christmas list this year.
Oh, yes.
He's asking for a jet ski, hang glider,
Massage chair.
all this stuff. And Kendra takes one look at the list, and she's like, "You're up to something." And I just love the amount of like she has a no bull crap detector whenever it comes to her brother.
She always knows. She smells something fishy immediately.
Mm-hmm. She's like, this is not your usual MO. Like, you're very strategic usually. You're not usually just asking for all these big ticket items. What's your play? And Seth's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
He's trying to act all innocent, being like, well, I'm sorry if I just didn't have the ambition to, ask for these things the years before.
I mean, I'm going all out this year. I'm giving it to all of our parents, grandparents. I even tracked down some long-distance relatives. Who knows? Maybe one of them's rich. She's like, yeah, one of our relatives is rich, but it's the one sitting across from me, not any of the ones out there.
Yeah. She's like, you took freaking gold from Fablehaven and brought it back and are going to try and convert it to money and then buy yourself expensive gifts and be like, oh, our distant billionaire relative gave me these things. And he, like, immediately is just kind of like, she, like, immediately sees the truth in his eyes.
I love how she does it too. Like they're just doing like the regular banter teasing. And, like, and like Kendra has figured it out, and she's like, "Oh, maybe you should start keeping a journal." And I have the perfect first entry. Today, I bought myself fancy Christmas presents with the gold I stole from Fablehaven and passed it off as from distant relatives. And I just love Seth. Just goes like deer in headlights for a second, and he's like, "You can't prove that."
There's a lot of really funny lines. Like, before that, he says, limiting what I get for Christmas is one thing. Limiting what I ask for is another. Who are you, the Grinch?
I love that.
And I love, like, after he kind of, like, is defensive and kind of gives away that that's exactly what happened, he's trying to, like, cover it up again and be like, no, you're crazy. Like, that's not what I'm doing. How would I even do that?
She's like, well, you probably had multiple stashes. You snuck it out in your box. And which was definitely foreshadowed at the end of the last book, because as they were leaving, Seth dropped his security kit, or his emergency kit.
There was like a hint at the end of the book 3.
There was he dropped it and it thudded really loud, and he rushed out afterwards with like a panicked expression.
Yeah.
So really, I think she should have been suspicious a lot sooner than this.
I don't think anyone saw it. I think that was more of like an aside for the readers to figure it out.
Fair enough.
And then I also love one of his defense. He's like, Seth died in defeat. Grandma and Grandpa weren't using it. Like, they would be using the gold that is at Fablehaven.
Yeah, and then like, Kendra's rebuttal is like, yeah, because they're the caretakers. It's like stealing from a museum.
And then he's like, but what about the rain stick and the swords that you guys got from Las Mesa? How is that different? And then Kendra's like, well, technically, I wasn't at the Las Mesa Preserve because where I wasn't technically part of it. And she's like getting all these technicalities.
But then she does, like, I feel like he catches her off guard right there, and so she has to like kind of backtrack. But then she comes back strong, saying like, besides, I'm not hawking it to buy a Wave Runner, and Warren isn't trading the sword for a snowmobile. So it's a very good rebuttal.
Yeah, and then he's like, I'll bribe you if you can like keep your mouth shut. So funny.
And of course that's not gonna work.
Yeah, she's like, no chance.
And then like, so Kendra like crumples up the list and tries to throw it in the trash, but she misses, and Seth picks it up and is like, nice aim, and then she goes, nice list.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah. I kind of like that this is kind of like a show don't tell moment. Like there's a tell moment like a little bit later when Kendra's like, they've kind of been pushed apart by the fact that Kendra is being so secretive about the Journal of Secrets, because only she can read the secret fairy language that Patton wrote it in.
Yeah.
And Patton shared some really important secrets in the journal, mainly regarding where he put information on the location of 2 of the other artifacts.
Mm-hmm.
And Kendra has been Kendra has not told anybody about that.
Yeah.
And Seth knows she's hiding something because she's being very vague and secretive. And so he's just like, I'm the only person you can talk to about this. Like, you can't trust sending anything to Grandma and Grandpa because you don't know if it'll get intercepted. Why won't you tell me about this? And Kendra's just like, she just can't, I guess.
I feel like she's just trying to be super careful because she's the only one that can read it. She has control of the information and like who can know it. And so if she doesn't tell anybody, she knows that she can stop it from like getting out anywhere. And I feel like she's kind of like waiting until she can like talk to Grandma and Grandpa about it in person. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a really smart, like, yes, of course she trusts Seth as her brother, but also she can't, it's easier to keep control of like information if it's just like one person. So
yeah, but still, like, the fact that like she won't even tell Seth, I'm kind of on Seth's side here. She could tell him at the very least.
And maybe she is thinking also this is very valuable information, and not telling it to Seth keeps him safer from the society. It's not in the book, but I'm like theorizing here. Yeah. That's just a thought.
No, I'm still on the side of like, you could at least tell him. Like, you don't have to be super vague. You could tell him that there's stuff in there. So, like, I mean, like, because what if something happens to her? And, like, Seth needs to know that there's important information in there. And it's
they know there's important information.
I know, but, like...
But you get what I mean, right?
I get what you mean, but, like... And also, the reason she cites in the book is that she did not dare allow him access to the information. He would undoubtedly find a way to put that knowledge to bad use.
Okay, also, yeah.
That's a little mean.
It's a little mean, but...
He has been proving himself.
He's been better, but he's still like 12. 11, 12, 13?
12. You're 12 or 13.
He's not 11.
But
12 or 13.
Still, he's proved himself over the past 2 books to be trustworthy enough, I think.
Yeah, but I still feel like Kendra's still like, you know, the journal is for me. I'm the only one that can read it. I'm going to keep this information to myself until it can be given. And I feel like he would still know it if they were having, like, a general, you know, like, Fablehaven meeting with, like, their grandparents, Warren, Tanya, and all of them. He would hear it then, you know? But just to give some of the most important information in the world right then to 2 children is not a smart,
Patton had no problem with it.
Okay, well, Patton did it because it would also only be to Kendra. That was another way for him to control who got the information.
Well, at the very least, okay, so maybe not give him the information, but at least tell him why she's not giving it to him. Or, like, just, like, explain. Like, instead of just being, like, super vague and secretive, explain your reasoning and, just, like, you 2 have been through so much crap together. This is not something you want to, like, this is not a hill you need to die on.
It's not like she expects that they need to use the information anytime soon.
Yeah, good point.
She doesn't think that all of this is about to happen in the next, like, couple days and months.
Just tell him, like, hey, Patton put some secrets in there. I think it's safer if only I know them. I'm sorry. Just so that, like, she could have handled it better personally. My point is that I don't really blame Seth.
Yeah. Well, Seth is also kind of like a jealous type, too. Like, he wants to be involved in stuff, and when he gets left out, he pouts. And, like, sneaks into her room and tries to... Also, I don't think she caught him when it was her, but he was also, like, snooping around her room trying to find, like, letters, because he, like, read her letters from Gavin, too. So, like, it's also a thing about privacy.
I love the fact that, like, he read them and he wasn't even, like, thinking about, like the
like teasing her
stuff.
Yeah.
He just wanted to find out about the dragons.
Yeah, he's like, I had so much cool information about the dragons.
No, yeah, so, like, Kendra and Gavin, the handsome, roguish, stuttering dragon tamer type from Lost Mesa, they're in correspondence, writing letters to and from each other through
bodyguards.
Bodyguards.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. Kendra's like, oh, there's cool stuff about dragons, but really he misses me, and that's what I care about.
Mm-hmm. And in the first chapter, she says that she, like, doesn't even have to read the letters anymore. She, like, has memorized them.
Which kind of, like, I'm like, girl, like, I know you're lovesick, but, like, she's, like, readily admits that she has not read the entire Journal of Secrets yet. Like, I feel like you should be studying that more than the letters.
Yeah, but she's also, like, a teenage girl with her first crush.
I know. And
also, like... Yeah, she didn't read all the journal secrets, and maybe the letters probably easier to digest, you know, shorter. But also, with the letters and the journal secrets, she also has to be careful because her parents caught her that one time, as opposed with the letter. But also, I think it's interesting just because, like, these are, like, some of the soul connections she still has to the magical world. Because, like, she has Seth who she can talk to, and then she, like, sees her bodyguards, you know, doesn't really, like, talk to them. But she, like, knows they're there. But this is, like, one of the, like, the direct links that she still has to, like, the magical world in her normal life, which is, like, one of the first times that she's had to deal with this, like, these past couple months. Because, like, the first time after they left Fablehaven, nothing happened for almost a whole year. But now, it's been just a couple months since they left Fablehaven. Things are a lot more serious. She has a deeper connection to the magical world, and, like, these are, like, things that, like, connect her to it.
Sure. All right, yeah, good point. Can we also talk about some of the things that Gavin said? Because can we just talk about how much nope is involved with the spider dragon? Like, that's just a
He said there's a spider dragon?
No. Well,
oh my gosh, that is like stuff of nightmares.
One of the things he wrote about rescuing a team of magical plant experts from a small but ferocious dragon that spun webs like a spider. That's 1,000 nopes. Nope, and nope.
Oh, I hate spiders, dude. Could not do that.
Yeah, I mean but like what she said, what Gavin's talking about is interesting. Like, cutting skin tumors out of dragons, studying rare dragons that live underwater, and then like the rescuing experts from dragons.
But it also could just be a teenage boy showing off for a girl that he likes.
I also love the part where like Kendra's like her favorite parts of the letters were when were any mention of him missing her or looking forward to see her again. When she wrote back, she made it clear that she was looking forward to seeing him as well, hopefully without sounding too over anxious. Goodness, don't we all know that feeling?
Yeah, it probably was a little over anxious.
Like every
it's
every
hard to
girl,
not be. It's hard to be nonchalant and something like that,
and not overanalyze every single interaction that you have with a guy or a girl that you
it's
like.
pretty much impossible, especially at that age.
And then, like, closing her eyes, she pictured him. Was he getting better looking in her memories? True, though.
I will say, Brandon Mull does a good job at capturing what it's like to have a crush as a teenage girl. Like, I don't know who he talked to about that, but good job.
True enough. He's got a girl. He's got a little girl about it.
That's true.
Maybe they weren't old enough at this point, but.
So yeah, that's basically everything in chapter 1. In chapter 2, Sting Bulb. That's where we get.
What that's about.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't know until like the end of the chapter.
Yeah.
Kendra's leaving school and going to her after school job. She works at a daycare, and as she's going, she sees Elise, one of the bodyguards from the Knights of the Dawn, and she's like watching her. And it'd be kind of weird to like know that you're like just being followed all day long. You just kind of see, every once in a while you just look over like, oh, there they are.
Oh, there's my shadow.
There's the person watching me, but for protection.
I also love that, like as she gets to the daycare, like, all the kids address her as Miss Sorensen.
Yeah.
Even though she's, like,
15, yeah. But when they're, like, little kids, they're like, Miss Sorensen.
Well, I worked at a daycare for my senior year of high school. And
oh, you did?
Yeah. And I didn't always, like, for a lot of the time, I was with, like, the young kids. Like, they were barely walking yet. But, like, there were times when I'd be with the 2-year-olds or the 5-year-olds. And I think they called me Jessica, Miss Jessica. That could be.
Yeah, I mean that's like the same thing, Miss Jessica, Miss Sorensen. Yeah.
I just feel like that's a big name, like Sorensen. I feel like
for like a 5-year-old, yeah, I think they can talk.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like Miss Kendra is just like it's so much cuter sounding.
Miss Kendra. It is cuter. So then she gets in, and the guy who's like her boss, Rex Tanner, is like, I need your help figure out this little 5 senses thing. Is like, stick your hand in the box. And have you ever done one of these? I feel like I've done these like before. We like stick your hand, and you're always thinking like there's gonna be something bad in there. Oh, it's kind of like unknown, fear of like the unknown, even though it's just like a box and you don't think that there's gonna be anything bad. But like reaching into the box, you're like,
I've definitely done it in at Halloween parties.
Oh yeah.
And like that's why I was like, so like, and people would use like the greasy sphere, like the peeled grapes as eyeballs and the noodles as intestines. Like, that's what they would usually do.
Peeled grapes would be gross.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking like having like 20 kids all putting their hands in
there. Post-COVID, no thank you.
We're traumatized.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that anymore. So she reaches in, peeled grapes, the spaghetti, erasers, and then she reaches into the 4th one, feels around, and she's like, thinks it's like a potato or something, and then something sticks her in her thumb, like a needle or something. She pulls her hand out, and she's like, ow, that freaking hurt, and then he says that it was like a cactus fruit?
Cactus fig.
Cactus fig. And he thought he pulled out all the spines, but one of them got her.
They're little purple as the Arizona.
Yeah, you're the cactus expert. Drink cactus juice.
It'll quench you.
Nothing's quenchier.
It's the quenchiest.
A little Avatar: The Last Airbender reference for those of you who got that.
Classic.
Okay, cactus expert. Tell us about the cactuses.
So they don't usually grow on like the really tall saguaros, that, normal, but on like the little kind of like bush cacti, which are honestly way worse because if you trip and fall on those, been there, done that, not fun.
Oh my gosh.
But they like grow at like the end of like the little of the circle like cactus leaves, I guguess.
Yeah.
Just like little purple bulbs.
Oh.
I would say they were not quite as big as a potato, but I guess if she was
Yeah.
like, imagining
Would it,
little golden.
Would like fit in your hand?
100%.
Okay.
Like you probably fit like two in your hand usually.
So like, size of
and they do have spines.
Like the size of like a meatball or bigger?
Bigger than a meatball.
Bigger than a meatball, smaller than a potato. It'll fit in a bread box.
A cue ball from like a pool.
Okay.
Cue.
Okay.
Yeah. Like an 8-ball or like 2 of those, like about that size. I'd say. They're not quite spherical, I'd say.
Thank you for your
cactus
knowledge.
I
didn't think of it that way, but yeah, you would know about cacti. You would be the cactus expert. And it's funny what she says. What's in the last one? Rusty razors? Damp sponges. Did you use any of them to wipe up broken glass? She's just like, oh, did you put something else sharp in the last one? Surprise for the 5-year-olds.
But, okay, so at the end of this chapter, I'm just going to get ahead a little bit.
Yeah, let's just skip ahead to that.
Kendra gets kidnapped. Bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah.
So basically, Rex is a duplicate. He is a sting bulb, so basically he's a fruit.
Yes.
Let us explain. Sounds a little weird when you say that.
Out of context, that does sound very weird.
So basically, like, when a living person gets pricked by a sting bulb, the fruit will grow into their duplicate, and with many of their same memories, but be completely malleable, and will follow the orders of whoever first issues orders, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, whoever, like, first talks to them, basically.
They will obey those orders.
Yeah.
So Rex, it's revealed, was killed by the Society of the Evening Star.
Yeah, this Rex is a sting bulb, too.
And is a sting bulb who has now pricked Kendra and now created an imposter of Kendra, and it's with the intention of sending the imposter home and kidnapping Kendra.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, but the thing is about the duplicates is that they're not perfect.
Yeah.
They forget some things, and they will be like, because I mean they were a fruit for most of their lives, so they are very much aware that they are fruit. And
they don't duplicate the personality. No. They duplicate most of the memories pretty much, but not the personality of the person, which is what becomes evident later in the chapters with the fake Kendra.
Mm-hmm. And so like, one thing I kind of wish is, like, because when it's describing Rex, like, it's talking about, like, he looks just the same, he smells the same as usual. I think it would have been interesting if there'd maybe been, like, a seed, like, he'd gone with a different scent for once. Like, he didn't wear any Old Spice or something. Because that's, like, kind of what helps later, like, Seth and Warren start cluing in, like, oh, something's off here. Something's wrong. She forgot her locker combination. She went off the rails angry at Seth when she found him sneaking in her room, and like things like that. And I'm like, maybe just like a little extra hint that something was amiss.
There's one part that it's not quite like he's different, but one part, like right after she pricks her finger, she's like, oh, you missed a sharp spine, and then it says Rex blinked, looking off balance. Let me get you a Band-Aid. That's not like exactly, like maybe that could be interpreted of like, oh, he missed one, he was kind of like, oops, I messed up. I don't know. That always kind of the off balance thing. Maybe I interpreted that wrong, but
yeah,
reading it knowing that he's a sting bulb kind of always maybe clued me in, but maybe I interpreted that wrong.
I don't know. I just feel like,
but like we don't get a lot of interaction with him anyway.
Yeah, but Kendra did, so I feel like Kendra might have noticed something. I don't know. That's just an aside.
But, like, I also think because she only knows him as, like, a supervisor, she wouldn't know him well enough to really see a difference.
Good point.
And as opposed to, like, Seth and Warren, who know her, like, the best.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah. So Rex knocks her out with chloroform, I'm assuming.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
And the imposter takes her place, but she wakes up, and Rex does a monologue real quick.
Yeah,
The funny thing is that it's like a memorized monologue because
Probably, honestly, telling what sting bulbs are and where they come from, blah, blah, blah. Just, exposition. It's kind of funny. Exposition from the thing that we're talking about is also talking to us about itself and its kind.
The funny thing is, as well, is that he knows what he's doing, because, like, later on, after, like, she's asked a bunch of questions, he's like, they said you would be full of questions, and that you would try to persuade me to help you. They said I should help you understand, and that what had happened, that it would calm you. They didn't tell me much more than I needed to know, and I've told you all that I can. We're done talking now.
Yeah.
And he's like, I know that this was, like, I was just supposed to do this to help you feel better. I'm done.
And that's, like, the interesting thing about sting bulbs is that they'll just follow the order, like, that's just why they're created. They're created just like to follow the orders that they get, and then they don't really deviate from that at all. Mm-hmm. And also another thing about sting bulbs is that they only last a couple of days. So you get pricked, there's a sting bulb's created, and then it only lasts like 3, 4, 5 days, and then it dies.
It's a rough life for a fruit.
I don't know. For them, they say they fulfill their purpose, so.
Yeah. Why does it give me house elf vibes?
House elf. Oh. SPEW. Spew.
No, but like, just like kind of like the same vibe. Like, oh, we don't know anything better. Like it's just who we are. It's just what we are, and we shall fulfill our purposes.
It's true. So yeah. Only Kendra knows that she has been replaced by a duplicate and has been kidnapped. And so fake Kendra goes home and whatever, and then the next chapter starts the next morning with Seth and fake Kendra eating breakfast, and he notices something is off about Kendra because she is shoveling down the Cocoa Krispies, which she like never does.
I can just see him just like kind of like chewing his toast and just watching her.
Yes, they could do a really funny, like, he writes it perfectly for like a really kind of like funny scene that could just be like she's like eating and Seth's just kind of like looking at her being like, this is weird. Like, what are you doing?
I just thought of a funny comparison.
What?
The scene in Merlin when the troll, like when Uther marries the troll and everybody's just having to sit there at the table while she's just like shoveling like rotten like food and stuff, and everybody's just having to sit there and watch her and just be like,
oh my gosh,
we don't like this. Like, that's kind of the vibe I think it would give, just like the uncomfortable like question, like, why are we like, what is happening right now? Sorry, deep cut.
I love when Seth's like, hungry today? And Kendra glanced over at him. I love this stuff. That's your third bowl. Are you in some sort of anti-diet? He's just kind of like, this is kind of strange, but also kind of entertaining. Like, he's not thinking anything's like off. He's just kind of like, all right, this is different, but kind of funny.
And then like the sting bulb, Kendra goes like, maybe I won't go to school today. Maybe I'll just skip class. And Seth's like, jokingly, he's like, who are you and what have you done with my sister?
Yeah, that's what really tipped him off. He's like, Kendra's acting weird today. It's not the eating copious amounts of sugary cereal. It's the fact that she was like, maybe I'll skip school. That was like, that's not what you would normally say. And then she's like, I was kidding. You fell for my joke.
And then he'd also walked in onto the bathroom of her smelling like a decorative soap. Yeah. Just like cupping a little soap and just sniffing, like snorting it.
Snorting, yeah. Basically, he's like inhaling it.
Like, I just get the vibe, like, he walks in and he's just like, backing out.
He's like, not gonna ask any questions here. I don't want to know.
I also just love, like, the last paragraph of this little section. Like, he sees the yellow bus lumbering around the corner and hustles to the bus stop, taking care not to slip and fall with an audience watching. Yeah. That is such a teenage boy to say.
Yeah. And then he just, like, goes with his friends.
And so he stops thinking about Kendra. Mm-hmm. So he gets back to the house after school. School's over. They're out for Christmas break. And
first of all, he's like, man, Christmas break. I don't have any homework till next year. And stuff, all the classic, like, I'm free.
Yeah. I mean, yesterday, until Monday, I hadn't seen you since last year. Like,
We all have that one friend who'll be like, see you next year. Like it's going to be a long time. You're that friend, aren't you?
I am that friend.
I know you are, Jessica. You are definitely that friend.
Why'd you have to call me out on it?
I wasn't thinking about it until I said it, and then I was like,
wait a second.
You're definitely one of those people.
You can only make that joke once a year. You gotta let me have it. Anyways, so Seth is home alone immediately after he gets home from school, and he's like, oh, what an opportunity. And this is what we mentioned a little bit earlier. He starts sneaking around in her room. He's like, I'm going to see if I can find any more letters, because he knows there's more of them. He wants to see if he can find the Journal of Secrets, all that jazz.
Yeah.
Finds the journal. Can't find the letters, which I think is honestly funny that he was more looking for the letters in the journal. But then again, he can't read the journal, so it makes sense. And so...
And he even, like, says... Sorry to interrupt you. But he even says that he had found it once before and, like, lit the candle and just kind of, like, looked at the page and was like, yeah, I can't read this.
Yeah, this is dumb. But I really find it funny. Like, he finds the Journal of Secrets before he finds the letters, and he's like, maybe I should re-hide it in a better hiding place.
Yeah.
Teach her a lesson.
Yeah, because he was like, that was a little too easy.
Yeah. But then, oh dear, Kendra Stingbulb walks in. Mm-hmm. He's like, oh, crap.
He's like, I've been caught red-handed.
Or journal-handed. But because he's confused because she was supposed to still be at the daycare. She wasn't even supposed to be home for another hour.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how he just, like, kind of looks at the situation. He's like, is there any way I can get out of this? No, there's not.
Yeah, there's no excuse for this, is what he realizes.
And then, like, Kendra is starting to go really...
She, like, flips out.
She does, but not yet. First, she's like, don't try to pretend you're my watchdog. For starters, Seth, you need to admit what you did was wrong. He's like, okay, yeah, I was invading your privacy. She's like, okay, now was that right or wrong? Wrong to get caught. And
such a Seth response.
and she gets, like, really mad about that. And Seth's like, what is going on with you? Like, he's really surprised about how extreme her reaction is.
But also, I love this part where it's like, Seth knew he should placate her, but when people got him this mad, even if they were right, it would make him feel more belligerent. And it's kind of like that sibling thing of being like, I know you're mad and I shouldn't make you more mad, but I kind of want to do it.
Big red button is so entertaining.
Like, I kind of want to,
and like,
push. Also, like, I want to do it, and I also don't feel like, apologizing right now, so...
There's pride to take into this equation.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, like, and then he just completely gets her to flip out with the comment about love letters. And, he even baits her into revealing their location because, like, her eyes flick over to the bed, or when she mentions them, and he's like, now I know.
Yeah, but like, he even says, like, normally she's more clever than this.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
which we see... Like, even just the night before when she figures out his plan for the whole...
Yeah.
Fablehaven gold.
And, like, she usually wouldn't, like, be so obvious and, like, giving away where she put the letters. Like, usually she's more clever than this. Just, like, a hint.
Mm-hmm. But, yeah, like, one final insult, and she completely rushes him, and he's just, like, staggering away, blocking punches that she's aiming at his face with closed fists.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, okay... This is different.
He's like, I miscalculated. Oh, yeah, and then he's trying to, like, figure out why she would react so extremely because it's so out of character for her. And he's like, is she, like, did something happen? Is she getting bullied at school? And then he kind of, like, says his mind, I'm just going to, like, kind of, like, leave her alone for a few days because I think she needs, like, a little bit of space. Which, honestly, like, tells you... Like, first of all, how he, like, talks. Usually he would expect her to, like, react sarcastically back or just kind of be like, I told you to stay out of my room, like, stop coming in. But you normally wouldn't be that angry and, like, react so extremely. And so I think it's just, like, really interesting, like, how he just, like, sees... such an extreme reaction, like, notices, like, it's so different from how she would normally act. And he's, like, trying to, like, think of an explanation for it.
Yeah. And a few hours later, we see that he's not the only one who's noticed some confusing.
Extreme behavior.
Extreme behavior.
Sneaking out in the middle of the night to secretly mail a letter, like jumping over your back fence and like sneaking off to the
Purposely evading your bodyguards.
Your bodyguards.
Who are there to protect you.
That's pretty extreme behavior.
And suspicious.
And yeah, very suspicious.
Which
So, yeah.
is Warren's conclusion when he
Shows
wakes
up.
Yeah, he
Shows up like a thief in the night at his window.
like, which is a second-story window. Can we mention?
Oh, I didn't realize that.
I'm like, yeah, the narrow shelf of roof beyond the glass. Yeah, it's a second story.
He's just like
For
crouching out there.
Yeah, that's what's implied.
Well, that answers anyone's thought if Seth ever wondered if anyone could get up to his window and like sneak into his house. There's that answer.
Yeah, but then the funny thing is, like, he sees Warren just like sitting out there on the window, and he goes to
Well, because like Warren's like tapping.
Warren's tapping. It's like 3:20 in the morning. Ew,
Yeah.
rude, Warren. But the funny thing is, I love that like Seth goes to unlock the window, and then he just pauses.
Yes.
And I'm like, learning has occurred.
Yeah, he's like, wait, last time I opened a window, something bad really happened. Something really bad happened.
And I love how Warren's like, okay, I understand. Here's my proof of identity. He points out Elise, his fellow bodyguard, who's
Like across the street, yeah.
And then the funny thing is, even after that, Seth still opens the window, and Warren just goes, you know, that wasn't very good proof. You probably should still have opened it.
Yeah. But I love that we're all just, like, everyone in the situation knows why Seth hesitated to open the window and, like, all that. It's just kind of funny.
Yeah.
Such a
I love
callback.
Seth just whispers, you're not going to turn into a goblin and kill me, right?
Yeah. He's like, this isn't happening again, or this is a dream or something.
Like, if this is a illusion, just drop it now and kill me. Like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice.
Yeah.
I deserve it at this point. So yeah, Warren's like, okay, we need to talk about some odd behavior from your sister. And right here, interesting, guilt surged through Seth. She wasn't herself today. Mainly, it was my fault. She caught me snooping, and she went ballistic. Did her reaction seem extreme? I shouldn't have been in there. And so I love how, like, a few hours later, he's had time to think about it. He's like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, I made bad decisions here.
He's feeling bad for it.
Mm-hmm. And then Warren just, like, adds the cherry on top, talking about the sneaking out. And Seth's like, hold up, what? And then when he finds out what was in the letter with, like, extreme details and secrets about, like, the Journal of Secrets, about the hints, the clues that they have to two of the last three artifacts.
Fablehaven, I think you mentioned, like, chronometer, too, and, like, the fact that they have it.
Yes.
Does it? Yeah. Like, all of their big secrets.
Like, it seemed like Kendra was
Kendra would know.
Spill it.
Yeah.
And they're like, holy crap, well, that's not good.
Yeah, they're like, this is pretty, damning evidence of, like, the very traitorous behavior. Mm-hmm. And Warren says that, like, Elise, because she doesn't really know Kendra, she wants to immediately, like, take her into custody and, like, under suspicion of being a traitor. And Warren wants to confront her and, like, talk to her because he just, like, can't believe it that Kendra would ever do something like this. And Seth is also like, that does not sound like Kendra at all. Something's going on here.
Exactly. And so the letter was addressed to a Torina Barker in Monmouth, Illinois. Mm-hmm. And so nobody has any idea who that is. And they're like, well, crap, what are we doing? What are we going to do now? And so they go and confront Kendra. And I really love this part where, because growing up, like, our bedrooms in our house had locks on them. And really all you needed was, like, what we would use usually was, a little, like, stick from one of those, like, games where, like, you pull the stick and marble falls. Yada, yada. It's like one of those. We use that to unlock doors when
you pull a stick and a marble falls?
It's like a little, like, cone kind of thing. You have all the cones, the marbles are resting on top, and there's, like, a lattice work of, like, of little sticks.
Oh.
And, like, colorful. I can't remember what it's called. Like, sticking through the center. And so you have to pull sticks. You have to take a turn pulling. It's kind of like...
I've never played this game.
Kind of like Jenga? I don't know. You have to keep pulling sticks, and if any marbles fall, those are yours. You win if you have the least number of
Were they like
marbles.
thin sticks?
Yes, very thin, like spaghetti, like uncooked spaghetti.
It must have been a lot of sticks to hold up marbles.
Yeah.
Wow. I've never heard of this game, so that's
It was
why
a
I was
fun
kind of like, what?
But like we had like those little sticks, and we would use those, and we would like put it into a little pinhole in the door and use it to unlock the door. And so I read this part where like Seth led Warren into the hall and tiptoed to Kendra's door. He gently tried the knob. Locked, he mouthed. He leaned close to Warren. We don't need a key, just a pin or a paper clip, something skinny to poke in the hole and pop the lock. And I'm like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I mean, usually doors like that don't have very good locks,
No,
so...
but then I just love this
It's probably for child safety.
Yeah. Holding up a finger, Warren removed what looked like a professional lock-picking gear from a pocket.
Talk about overkill.
And I'm just like, man, you didn't have to go that far.
Exactly. Overkill.
And so that just made me laugh. I had never noticed that before.
Yeah, neither did I. I noticed that too. That was funny. Also, I love the part where he's like, we shouldn't disturb your parents. And then Seth's like, yeah, that probably would be a good idea. And Warren's like, yeah, I'm sure they probably don't like strange men coming to their house in the middle of the night.
They have such similar humor. Anytime Seth and Warren are interacting, gold.
Yeah, it's true. So yeah, they go in and they confront Kendra. She's awake, reading, looks like, I think, another letter, like, on her bed. And then she's kind of like, well, first of all, she sees Seth and she's, like, annoyed. And then she sees Warren and she's, like, kind of, let's see, what does it even say?
Annoyed at first, then perplexed. Yeah. But then the next time, Warren held up the envelope she had mailed earlier in the night. For a moment, her face betrayed pure terror.
Yeah.
Then she scowled. How dare you go through my personal... Don't even try it, Warren goes. He's like, no, cut the crap.
Yeah, he's like, I am not here for this, like, fake... Like, don't lie to me. And then she, like tries, like, a couple of different tactics. Like, she, like, tries, like, a couple different things. And Warren is like... You've changed tactics, like, 5 times since, like, I walked in here. Like, she's just trying to, like, wiggle out from these, like, accusations, basically. I think it's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
How he's, like, he just sees right through it.
And the thing is, so their immediate assumption, he's like, Warren says, who am I speaking with? I'm not convinced that Kendra's mind is behind these words.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it shows, like, and then Kendra goes, it's me, Warren. Of course it's me. Remember how I helped restore you from being an albino? Remember how we faced that 3-headed panther with Vanessa? Ask me anything. And then Warren goes, why did you forget the combination to your locker? And I love how, like, even though the stink bulb is very, very close, it's not perfect. And it's those imperfections that Warren notices.
Yeah.
And like, they told the Sphinx all about that encounter. Why did she think that would prove anything? Never mind. And she's like, why does everyone forget anything? Her voice unsteady. The numbers just slipped my mind. And then Seth's like, well, why'd you come home early from the daycare? Rex was out sick. The lady replacing him said she didn't mind if I ducked out early. And Seth's like, yeah, no. That's like, not something you would do.
Yeah, that's not a Kendra thing to do. And he's like, yeah, I agree, Warren. I don't think we're talking to Kendra. I don't think it's been her all day.
You know who you are? You're a pig. I've never seen anyone down so many Cocoa Krispies.
That is a lot of Cocoa Krispies.
And then, sadly, though, the sting bulb completes her mission. So Warren grabs Kendra's arm, is like, you're coming with us. We're going to make sure you release your hold on Kendra's mind. And then but he only has one arm. The other hand slaps her hand to her lips and swallows. And quick-acting poison leaves no trace. Everyone will think it was a stroke.
Yeah. She dies within, like, almost seconds.
Yeah, like
and then, and, like, Warren and Seth are basically just, like, stuck in shock. And Warren tries to, like, do, like, CPR and, like, tries to, like, revive her, and nothing works. And Seth's just standing there, like, watching who he thinks is his actual sister dead.
Die.
Like, literally die in front of his eyes. Thinking that, like, in, like, her last moments, that she was, like, being, like, mind controlled to, like, betray them. Like, talk about trauma.
Yeah, and he's just standing there, like, cheeks soaked with tears, and he's still having to think, like, he's just, like, in shock. He's like, Warren, you need to leave. If they find you here, it's not gonna look good. It's not gonna end well. And then Warren is just, like, fumbling. He's like, I didn't realize I should have done something.
Yeah, he's also, like, probably feels guilty thinking like he almost like forced this to happen by confronting her.
Yeah. And then, like, this part, too, like, Seth's like, who could have seen this coming? Trying to, like, comfort Warren. He walks closer, caressing Kendra's face, searching for any sign of life. There was none. Like, even though the readers themselves know that Kendra isn't dead, this hurts.
It's so sad, because they think that she's dead. And then, it's so sad. It says, finally Warren helped Seth back to his own room and into bed, then slipped out the window and replaced the screen. Seth found he could not sleep. Soon his pillow was drenched. He could not stop obsessing about the lifeless body in his sister's room. After all they had been through together, Kendra was gone.
This poor boy!
Like, dang. That is so sad.
Like, I remember starting this book and being like, oh crap, that's how we're doing, like...
Yeah!
Like,
the stakes have been raised way higher.
Because, like, the first book we had, like, nobody really got hurt. Like, things happened, but
like,
they were able
it
to
could have been a
recover.
catastrophe, but they saved it.
And
Kendra.
Nobody died.
Yeah.
Second book, we have a big betrayal from Vanessa, which hurt, and a possible betrayal by the Sphinx.
Yeah.
Third book, we lose Lena.
Yeah.
Which is really, really sad.
But we gained Patton.
But we gained Patton for a few days, which was really nice.
And but like, by this point, like, you don't think anything that bad is going to really happen. Like, you don't really know what's going to happen, but you're not, like, expecting something so drastic. Mm-hmm. And then in the first couple chapters, boom, she's been kidnapped, replaced, and then the replacement dies, and then everyone thinks she's dead.
And can we just talk about how brilliant of a plan this was, though?
Yeah. They were totally, like, planning out for months. That's why they waited until, like...
genius plan.
Yeah.
Because, like, they had, like, a contingency in place where even if the stink bulb is discovered, she pops the pill back and she's gone, and there goes any chance of them figuring out that she's a stink bulb.
Mm-hmm.
There goes any chance of her really revealing extra information. Like, it's a foolproof. Like, stink bulbs are kind of OP in the...
They're extremely OP.
Like, even if you just, like, yeah, maybe they don't remember everything, but if you find, like, a high enough value target and you prick them, that is, and you don't even use them to replace or anything, that is so valuable.
Yeah. It reminds me, because they are so OP, I appreciate that, like, after, like, this book and the next book, he doesn't really use them anymore, which I appreciate because, like, there could be so many things that you could use. It makes me think of, like, in Harry Potter with time turners.
Yeah. Those
are, like, super OP. Like, obviously more OP because it's time travel, but I think he did it a really good way. Like, he created something that was, like a good story element and, like, a really interesting, but he didn't overuse it.
Yeah.
Like time turners and
what if they'd, like, gotten,
Child.
like the Sphinx pricked or something, and they make a sting bulb replica of the Sphinx, and that is a treasure trove of knowledge. Mm-hmm. Because the sting bulb will follow your orders. It will reveal any and all information.
Yeah.
That you need.
Mm-hmm. But at that point, it's just like, you know, then you could just do so many things with the sting bulb, and that's why.
Yeah.
But also, and okay, wait, we're kind of going into detail of the next couple chapters. So when they talk about sting bulbs,
yeah,
they don't talk about it in this one until they figure it out. But I think it was such a genius plan, and it almost worked completely if they hadn't figured out that she was, like, sending a letter to someone, because it's like the letter that they start to investigate, because, like, Trask talks about it in the next chapter or 2 chapters, about, like, going to Monmouth and, like, trying to figure that out, and, like, that's, like, starting to help them figure it out. But without that, they probably would have never, like, figured it out, like, at least not as fast as they did.
I wonder what the plan was if there wasn't any suspicion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because the sting bulb would have died within 2 or 3 more days.
Yeah.
Would they have just said, hey, pop the pill back anyway when you feel yourself starting to go, so that way, like, they still think it's a stroke, and that way nobody has any, like,
yeah,
they wouldn't have had any suspicion.
Well, and Who's to say that they wouldn't have thought it was like a stroke or something anyway? I don't know. Like, I don't know exactly how the sting bulbs die, but they die, and so they wouldn't have had suspicions without this.
They wouldn't have known where to look. They wouldn't So that was the end of chapter 3. Is the sting bulb dies. Seth, poor baby, is emotionally devastated.
Yeah. Okay, so now that Kendra is dead, we go to Kendra when she's alive.
Talk about whiplash.
Well, like the thing is that like Kendra was gone. When the minivan east to a stop in the darkness, Kendra had no idea whether they'd reached their final destination. Like, it goes from, like, Kendra's dead to actually real Kendra being alive. Anyway, it's kind of funny in a morbid way.
This chapter, not a ton happens?
Well, we see, like, another person in the society. So basically, Kendra, it's like, she was kidnapped and, like, taken out in night into like a van, and then they've been driving for a while. They like stopped at a campground and they like tied her to a tree. She's just like been a captive the whole time, and then they eventually make it to this like mansion. And
we find out like when her captor introduced herself, it's Tarina Barker.
Yeah,
the one the letter was that the sting bulb Kendra was addressed to.
Yeah.
And so, by that we can infer she's now in Illinois, which, considering is a drive from frickin' New York, ew.
Yeah. Well, she did say it took a couple days.
Yeah.
So.
I'm just saying, that
is a long drive. How long is it? Is it like Rochester?
Rochester, yeah, to Monmouth.
Let's look at Google Maps. 13 and a half.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
13 and a half hours. Yeah, that could take like 2 days if you like stop. Well, because they're probably taking like less obvious roads, so they don't get pulled over, because they can't get pulled over because they have a captive in the back of their van.
Yeah, that would be suspicious. So yeah, so they've gotten to Monmouth, and
Tarina, she describes her as a very pretty woman in her 50s. And, let's see.
She very quickly is revealed to be a very vain character.
Yeah.
Like, even just with her, like, first description, like, the woman had a slender figure and wore an elegant red gown. Her heavy makeup was well applied. The hand resting on her hip glittered with rings. She wore her blonde hair short and curly, the style seeming a tad too young for her age. And then later on, Kendra, like, she's like, I promise you, I will untie you if you promise not to make a ruckus. I must look like a rusty old relic to you, but believe me that under no circumstances could you possibly fight your way out of this room. And Kendra says, you don't look old. I won't try to escape. You are in serious danger of making it on my good side. And so you can just tell, like, Kendra gives her one compliment. And not even a compliment. It's just like, you don't look that old. And immediately Tarina's like, oh.
She eats it up, yeah. And then Kendra says later, are you some kind of witch? Kendra guessed. Tarina smirked. I can stomach audacious if you keep it polite. Fortunately for you, I've met some smoking hot witches in my day, so I take no offense. I'm not a witch per se, though I know my fair share of magic. Inside these walls, my identity is no secret. I'm Electoblix. And if we remember back, way back, in book 2, when we first learned about Blixes, we learned that Electoblix is someone who, when they bite someone, they take, like, basically like their vitality and like their youth and like suck it into themselves like a vampire sucking blood, so that when it like, think of Tangled and her magic hair, it like turns her young.
Exactly.
That's basically the thing, except you're taking the youth from someone else and putting it on yourself.
Exactly.
But Lectoblixes like consume age a lot faster than any normal human.
Yeah, later on somebody says like they like every year she loses like 25 to 30 years of youth. So
yeah,
that's a lot of.
It goes by fast.
Yeah.
Which also explains why she's so vain, because she's very touchy about looking old.
Yeah, and so, like, Kendra does some, like, vague flattery, like, you look like you're in the early 40s. She's like, oh, you're so kind. My current body's 62. She's like, oh my gosh, you don't look a day over 45.
And then she's like, well, I'm not going to tell you my actual age, but...
You'd think you were conversing with a mummy, so...
Yeah.
Old girl. And then, Kendra, I love how she's, like, been trying to, like, keep a brave face, but, like, a few seconds later, she's like, you gonna suck away my youth? Like, she's kind of, like, resigned to it. Just, like, she's scared, but she's, like... But then Taria's like, oh, no, the Sphinx would have my head. Because, of course, I also have a crush on him. But...
The Sphinx has a way with Blixes, apparently.
And she's like, oh, besides, I have a code. I don't drain... I'm opposed to draining children. It stunts their growth and turns them into freaks.
Stunts their growth.
I really wonder what happens.
I mean...
Like, it kind of scares me. Just to think about that, like...
It's like the opposite of Twilight.
Don't even think about that.
You wouldn't... No, you don't get it because you
no.
haven't seen Breaking Dawn. Anyway.
No, I don't really need to.
You're missing out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyways, so basically Kendra is told under no conditions, like, I'll be nice to you as long as you're a model prisoner, a model captive. You're not going to escape, so just accept your fate. And so, like, it's just, like, I honestly feel for Kendra here because she's, like, she got kidnapped, and I think she was, like, really expecting, like, prison, a cell.
Yeah.
Like, somebody trying to force her to give up her
Like,
secrets.
the only, like, prison she really knows is, like, the dungeon at Fablehaven with the goblins, and so
Yeah.
that's probably what she was picturing.
100%.
Not, like, this gorgeous woman in this giant mansion and, like, you know, beautiful surroundings and stuff, and being, like...
All right, go get yourself
like,
presentable with your, like, the nice...
Yeah, like,
green
Tarina,
checkered
like,
dress I
lets
picked
her
out
go,
for
like,
you.
take a shower and, like, puts out clothes for her and is like, oh, let me do your hair and all this stuff. And she's like, this is not what prison is supposed to be like.
And if it's, like, really starting to, like, mess with Kendra, she's like,
Yeah.
Can you just be mean to me and make it easier?
Seriously. Yeah, it even says later, folding her arms and leaning against a wall, Kendra considered the opulent bathroom. She would have almost preferred a confinement in a dingy cell. It would have felt less treacherous. She did not appreciate the illusions of friendliness and comfort. To Kendra, Tarina came across like an alluring tropical plant, poised to devour unsuspecting insects. It's a very good description of her, actually.
Yep. We also get some, like, you can tell Tarina is, like, very much unsatisfied with her lot. Like, she's like, I've had to move around, like, it's so annoying. Right now I'm just like, she says, we may be surrounded by barnyards and outnumbered by livestock, but not even countless miles of farmland can deny us at least a few truly sophisticated amenities. I'm like, girl, you're holding your child captive.
Yeah.
Like, stop.
I will say, unlike the next couple pages, we do go to a really cool place, the library, which is also an aquarium. And it's like, you walk in the library and there's like a bunch of fish swimming around like if they were in water. And some kind of magic made it so like the fish are in water so they can survive, but it's not like in the library. I don't actually know how it works. It's magic, but...
I love how that is really funny. Like when Kendra asks how it works, Victoria's like, the short answer? Magic.
Just magic. I mean...
The way I
who needs a new explanation?
Like, in an alternate reality, like...
Yeah.
The library is filled with water, but in this reality it's filled with like, it's just a normal library, and the fish can just exist in both realities.
Yeah, there's like fish, seahorses, sharks, octopus. Kind of crazy.
Yep.
And then Tarina takes her to her new room, and
she meets two of Tarina's victims, Hayden and Cody.
Oh yeah.
Hayden who is in a wheelchair, like they are bald, white-haired. Well, one of them's bald, one of them's white-haired. Like they clearly look elderly. He's like, yeah, I'm 32. I'm 32. Hayden's 28. Kendra's like, oh crap.
Yeah. We're not really geezers, Cody said. I'm 32. Hayden is 28. I love how it's they're really funny how they act, because they're like young men who are now old men, and they're just kind of funny how they kind of like act like old men and kind of talk like old men. But also it's kind of sad just because like they were, you know, brought in by Tarina's lies, and then they got their youth sucked away from them.
Yeah. And I it's so sad, like, how, like, kind of resigned they are to their fates. Just, like, yeah, like, don't believe what, like, Tarina can put up quite the act. Don't trust her. But at the same time, like, we don't have anywhere to go.
Mm-hmm.
Because the way that Tarina lured them in was with an ad saying, "Wealthy dowager seeks young male companion. Email me."
Yeah.
And so Hayden and Cody are both like, we were suckers.
Yeah. They were like, we were maybe gold diggers a little bit, looking for some easy money.
And so she tells, at least that's what she tells herself. Like, I'm just taking, like, Tarina's like, I'm just taking from takers. They were just trying to steal my money. Because she does have a little bit of a conscience.
Yeah, that's why she doesn't suck them dry. She leaves them a couple years to, like, live and, like, provides them a place to live. So it's kind of interesting, actually, that she has any bit of a conscience, you know?
I mean, you live long enough, I think. I don't know. You see enough. I don't know. I guess it just gives another dimension to, like, members of the society in, like, an interesting way. Because it's not like she's not a good person, but she also, like, draws a bit of a line for herself, which, you know, interesting. Yeah. I wonder if Ava's just to impress the Sphinx, because the Sphinx, yes,
maybe
he will cross a lot of lines, but there are some things that he's not going to do.
Yeah. And then they're like, you know, she loves flattery, even if she knows you're laying it on thick. She just can't help herself. So they're like, you could do that to get on her good side a little bit. And they're like, oh, you're in her world. They figure out that, like, Kendra didn't just kind of, like, get there. That she's part of, like, the magical world that they've kind of stumbled into.
Yeah, like they're like, we're just regular guys. You're different.
Yeah.
I love the funny thing here as well. Like, here's the best tip. Flattery works wonders. Even when she knows you're laying it on thick, Tarina can't help but respond to generous remarks. Pathetic, really. Way I see it, deep down, she so desperately needs to feel admired. She absolutely treasures sugary words, especially about her looks. And she's extra vulnerable right now while her age is showing. Old or young, she's always a sucker for compliments. Not so much that she'd let you go, but, you know, make your life easier.
Yeah. Sounds like basically the end of the chapter. I actually love how this part. We don't know much about the supernatural, Cody said. We're only here because we're only what we've gleaned since living here. Tread carefully, Hayden advised. We'll try to watch out for you, keeping our hearing aids to the ground.
One of the other tips is watch out for Kevin. Kevin may be an old geezer like this, but he likes her, so just don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then, good night, guys. Kendra says, sorry you're in here. Hayden twisted in his chair and pointed at her. Same to you, but more of it. Like, okay, that's a little dark.
Yeah. I mean, they don't really have a great life, so they have a reason to have dark humor.
Yeah.
Okay, we have to finish.
I know. I just turned the next page, though, and the next one's called Mourning, and it's just Seth sitting in the graveyard after the funeral, and I'm just like, I know she's alive and I'm sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, so.
All right. Well,
that'll be next week's morning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that rounds out the first 4 chapters. It's like a lot happens, but also like not a lot happens. It's kind of weird, actually, these first 4 chapters.
We definitely have some stuff to talk about next one, though, because some interesting things happen.
Really gets the ball rolling.
Both with Seth and with Kendra.
Yeah. And that's something I really like about this, like, part of the book, like, in even into the next chapters. He does a really good job about balancing their, like, POVs and, like, getting the story from, like, both sides. Yeah. And it's really good. But anyway, that'll do it for this episode of the Nights That On podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode, and you can always reach us through our email, nightsthatdawnpodcast@gmail.com, or leave a comment on our YouTube channel, and make sure to like and subscribe, please, because we love that. And you know anyone else that likes Brandon Mull's books, please share this podcast with them, any of your friends that you know are interested. We just want to really grow this community of people who read Brandon Mull, because we know there's a lot of people out there. We just got to get the word out.
Yes, we must gather together, band as one.
But yeah. Anyway, that'll do it for this episode. Until next time, I'm Megan.
And I'm Jessica.
Have a good day.
Drink the milk.
See ya.